Mornings with Pat Kreitlow on 98.9 WXCO. Online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. The time is 7:52. Overcast skies and 65 degrees in downtown Wausau. In fact, temperature is not going to rise all that much as we get into our Friday. High temperatures expected somewhere in the upper 60s before all is said and done. We'll keep you up to speed on the weather as we get set for the weekend. With Ian Welsh, I am Chad Holmes. And one of the big stories nationally this week has been out in New York City, the mayor's primary on the Democratic side. It was Zoran Mandani who defeated Andrew Cuomo in order to get the Democratic nomination for New York mayor. And one of the aspects of the campaign has been that Mandani basically said to the folks about affordability, about there are ways with positive government action that things can be done, such as free busing and trying to be involved in some sort of rent controls in some sort of way to be able to do things to make the lives of average people more affordable, especially in a city like New York. And it can be, I think, expanded beyond New York City and also within the Democratic Party, whether or not big ideas are possible. Because over the last number of years, there's been a lot of, I think, trickle-down effects when it came to what started in the early 1980s with Ronald Reagan, talking about trickle-down economics, and at the same time, the idea that government can't work. That, as Ronald Reagan, when he would campaign, would say some of the scariest words you could ever hear is, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help." The idea that government can't work.
Yeah.
And I disagree with that. And actually, there was a note, a letter to the editor in the last couple of days to the Wausau Pilot Review that I think lays it out there that one thing that Democrats have to be able to do is not just promise big things when it comes to the way that government works, but it's also, again, having the courage to say that, hey, in order for us to do these things, we have to ask those who are well off to be taxed, what I would call fairly, but at the same time, those folks don't want to be taxed anymore. But it comes down to the battle of ideas. And this letter to the editor kind of simplifies it. I mean, it really isn't all that complicated. And I think that if we can get to the point where you have a true battle of ideas, and at the same time, you have to be honest as well. Because right now we are seeing such dishonesty when it comes to what is or what is not in this big, beautiful bill that the Republicans are trying to put through, that when you're trying to go through the lies, that can make it more difficult. But this letter, again, just, I thought, simple, a very simple idea. Lady named Mary Jo Nissen of Balsam Lake wrote a letter to the Wausau Pilot Review and says, basically, hey, Donald Trump made many promises during his campaign. One is to balance the federal budget. This is a worthy goal, one that Ron Johnson and Tom Tiffany share. And obviously Johnson and Tiffany talk about this all the time. Yeah. But the bottom line is they really don't want to accomplish that, because if they did, you put all the chips on the table. You don't just say, we're going to take the chainsaw that Elon Musk has to all these important programs that help average people and then say, well, we would never, ever ask our wealthy compatriots to add a little bit to the pie as well. But pointed out in this letter is that there used to be an income tax rate that was on the wealthiest that would help balance a budget. The letter writer says from 1937 to 1982, the rate on the wealthiest segment of our population was 70% or higher. Now it's 40%. Again, it started in the Reagan years. He just slashed the income rates of the wealthiest Americans And then the Republicans from then on have said, nope, we are never going to touch that. We're never going to raise it. We're never, ever going to ask the wealthiest to pay a little bit more for the betterment of society. And we are seeing an explosion of billionaires. And their idea is, well, everybody can become a billionaire. No, not everybody can become a billionaire. But
because not everybody has life handed to them on a silver platter.
That is very true. But
or a gold platter in this case, because gold is worth a lot more money, so it should be on a gold platter.
And the thing about it is, with this new budget, you're going to see rural hospitals put into terrible situations. You're going to see folks who rely on Medicaid put in terrible positions. And yet nobody's ever going to ask the wealthiest, who have millions and millions and millions of dollars to put into third-party dirty campaign ads every couple of years, to pay a little bit more to maybe make a rural hospital more efficient and more available to those in those communities. But the point I want to make here, just to wrap up this segment, is when you look at what happened in New York City with the positions that Zoran Mondani put out there, you can't just say, we're going to have free busing, we're going to have all these other opportunities, without asking, again, the wealthiest to put in. It has to be a complete conversation. And I think that is a conversation that this country needs to have in the future, because we have gone down this road for the last 40 plus years. Government bad, taxes bad. No, we have to reshape the conversation. And I think argue and prove to the American people that this is the right way to go.
Absolutely.
The time is 7:59. We have a news update coming up at the top of the hour, and then back to Pat Kreitlow. And we'll be back at 22 and 52 after the hour as well, here on 98.9 WXCO.